Hey, hey, what's up, y'all? TJ Denzer here, news editor for Shacknews, and as always, once a week, your host, supplier, and purveyor of fine indies on a little show that we like to call Indie-licious. So we have an interesting show for you today. Not only are we playing some games, we are joined by the developer of the game. This is Nightmare Reaper, and as you can see right there, up in the top right corner, that is Bruno. If you want to introduce yourself, go ahead, please.
Hi, my name is Bruno Baldwin. I'm the main developer on Nightmare Reaper, which is essentially a one-man game, but I did hire Andrew Olsholt for the music and some sound design, and a man called Gaunt for the enemy design.
Nice. And yeah, so Nightmare Reaper has it's been in early access for a minute already, but it is about to hit its 1.0. Is that correct?
Yes, on the 28th. So it's been about more than a year since the version you're playing right now, and we're about to release the full version. The version you have now has 2 episodes, or we call them chapters.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm releasing the third one, which also contains a ton of game modes and new things. It's pretty massive now.
Now, as people can see, this is a 2.5D sort of retro inspired but still modern shooter.
Yeah, there's a lot of immediately you can tell it's a retro shooter, but there's so many modern mechanics in there that you'll probably see shortly.
Now, Bruno, is it with technology being so more approachable now, especially in game development, is it harder to give a game that retro look, or is it easier?
Well, I don't think it's harder. Using Unreal or Unity to make a game in general is kind of a challenge. Making it look low fidelity doesn't really make it harder. It's just a different type of challenge. But the thing is, engines like Unreal and Unity are made to push polygons, like they're optimized for polygon amount. And these games don't really have a lot of polygons. They have other effects. They have a lot of, in games like these, for example, with 2D sprites, there's a lot of transparency, and Unreal doesn't really like that. For example, let's say you have a blade of grass, which would be a single polygon. It actually is easier to render 100 blades of grass than a couple of transparent grass amalgamation, like 2D sprite.
That's crazy.
So it's tough to actually optimize if you add a lot of effects, because players will expect the game to run extremely fast. But no, these effects cost a lot. The amount of polygons doesn't really affect the performance, because that's what's optimized in these engines. So I'd say that's the challenge, making it run great with these retro-looking graphics.
That and it's just you. You are the dev team. It's all
this
you.
This is a massive game. The amount of content is ridiculous, and yeah, it's tough. making sure everything works together. You'll see, there's insane combinations of things in this game you can have, and there's a lot of randomness because there's elements of roguelites. It's not an actual roguelite, but this randomness really creates complex situations.
How long has this been cooking in your development of it for, start to now? How long is it taking you to get to this early access point?
Well, it's based on a prototype that I made in a custom engine, but I wasn't working full-time on it. I was just trying things. Since I've been working full-time, though, I'd say around 5 years.
That's a lot of time for a game. That's a lot of heart and soul and blood, sweat, and tears.
It's definitely a love project. I couldn't have done it if I didn't love it. And it's tough. It's tough for my family, all the time I'm spending on it, and I'm gonna get a nicely deserved break after the release.
Now, is this game, you said it's released in chapters, does that mean that each of the levels is handcrafted and handmade for an experience, or is it procedurally generated? Like, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's a mix of both. There are fully handmade levels, but they're mostly randomized. The way I do this so that it's not garbage to play is that it's rooms that I connect together. So the rooms are all handcrafted, and then I connect them together in interesting ways, and I also kind of randomize the content of these rooms. So enemy types, clutter, or like challenges in rooms would be different. So
you pull from enemies and room types, and the AI or the design plugs them in, so it's interesting and fun to play.
Yeah, exactly. And it's every time you die, it generates a completely new level. But if it, like in roguelites, for example, which do a lot of this randomization, if you die, you restart from the beginning of the game. But this, when you die, you just restart this level again, kind of like in old school shooters. But it's just the layout is randomized.
Nice.
So essentially, it's always fresh. Like you never get bored of the same thing, and you never know what you're gonna get, which is what's cool about this.
When I was looking at like the highlights of this game, I saw 80 weapons. 80
Yeah,
weapons.
80.
It's so many.
There's more than 80. There are more than 80, but 80 in the main pool of weapon. There's a bunch of there's surprises. Yeah, and they're all fun to use. I made sure they're all fun to use. They're all unique. They're all cool.
That was one thing that like occurred to me. Was it just like a situation where like something came to mind? Like, oh yeah, let's put it. It was like, what was the vetting process of getting that many weapons together for this whole project?
I wanted 100, but I'm just one guy. So like just making the art for these weapons, I made the math, and it wouldn't have been possible. It would have taken too much time. So I limited it to 80, and I needed it from the start. I wanted a lot of weapons because in a game like this, where there's a lot of randomization, you need to get cool things all the time and discover new things and have them behave in cool and interesting ways. And not only are there 80 weapons, but they have stats like in Diablo or Borderlands, if you will, that affect how they work. And sometimes it's simple stats like a fire rate boost or maybe a bigger magazine, but sometimes it's crazy things like it changed a weapon into a burst fire weapon, or it changed the projectiles it shoots, it adds electric damage or stuff like that.
Hey, look at all those fine folks.
Yeah. I don't know if you've heard of Andrew Olsholt, but he's pretty popular in the retro shooter scene. And he actually made the music for the Doom Eternal expansion.
Nice.
Most recent. So if you like heavy metal music... I'm sorry?
You said that's amazing, yeah.
Yeah, if you like heavy metal music, this game has it in spades. So yeah, this is the hospital. It's the hub of the game, if you will. You'll always come back here. Mm-hmm. And I won't spoil anything, but yeah, just pay attention. I mean, this is a very long game, so I'm not sure how long you're gonna stream, but you're not gonna get to see everything. You're only gonna get to see a small slice. It's the type of game that you play, and there's a lot of progression, and you get addicted, and there's a lot of playtime. I estimate that if you're like if you're a good player and you don't do everything, it can take from 30 to 40 hours to reach the end of the game. And that's not like 100%. That is not 100%. It's just getting to the end of the game.
So there's a good chance that there's stuff that you would see on one playthrough that you don't see on another.
Yes, but also you can't unlock everything on a first playthrough. There are 3 different skill trees, and you just can't. And there's New Game Plus, there's other game modes you have to go through to unlock everything. There's a lot of game.
So the little bit of like the surface that I've gotten here is like these are These are to a certain degree nightmares.
I won't spoil anything. It's part of the story. You're supposed to observe what's happening and kind of figure out what is happening, who you are, and what you have to do, and what are the consequences of your actions.
Sure.
But yeah, nightmares in the title. I think I can see that nightmares are a big part of this game.
I love a good shotgun. I've said it on Indie-licious many a time before. I think a good shotgun is one of the most important things that you can have in any given shooter, let alone retro or modern.
Yeah, shotguns are my favorite. But the thing is, your shotgun currently has a stat. It has explosive ammo, which actually makes every pellet explode on contact.
Nice.
So that's an example of how your weapon can be modified. So it does AoE damage around the impacts.
Oh my gosh, the little dudes.
Yeah, that's a random event. There's a ton of random events, and they can be all kinds of crazy things.
Just a dream.
I don't know if you're familiar with Army of Darkness, but that's where the inspiration comes from for that one.
Are we familiar? Oh my god, it's one of my favorite movies.
I love it. I love all the Evil Deads too. It's just great.
Oh, I guess I'm gonna go back to sleep.
Yeah, so you die, you're playing the same level, but it has a different layout. But it's like the same level of challenge, the same type of enemies, the same type of weapon drops.
Bruno, like, people are used to seeing games like Doom, which is very similar to, but the thing that they're not used to seeing is currencies. You have like a coin counter. Like, talk about how that plays into the game a little bit.
Yeah, it's a huge part of the game. It's not a simple shooter where you finish a level and you go to the next and there's nothing else. There's a lot of systems working in the background. So the gold you get, for example, by killing enemies or opening secret doors, you can use to buy skills. So far, you guys haven't unlocked the skill tree yet. It's gonna come up, I think, in this level or the next one. And you buy actual like passive abilities or active abilities. For those who don't know what that is, a passive can be more max health, and an active can be like dashing, for example. So in not too long, you can unlock a dashing skill. And that's one of the currencies. There are two others, not in this build, but in the one that's coming out on the 28th. And these are obtained in different ways, not by playing the main game and getting gold. You obtain them by other ways, which I won't spoil. But yeah, there's 3 entire skill trees with active and passive skills. So there's always a reason why you're doing something. Like, you're not just killing for killing. You are in a way just to have fun, but whatever you do in this game, you're going to be rewarded with something that helps you progress farther in all game modes.
Nice.
Yeah, because I'm kind of like I've been playing games since the Atari, like 2600, I think, and I've seen a lot of Doom clones, and I'm kind of tired of just simple do a level, then you go to the next one, you finish the episode, that's it. No unlocking anything other than like finding the 9 weapons. I mean, it kind of gets old. Not that I'm not enjoying these games, but I want something different and unique.
I do like your Game Boy SP inspired menu. I think that's fun.
That's gonna come up when he picks it up. Yeah, so to unlock the skills in the skill tree, I decided to do something that's dumb. Because I made a mini game, which is essentially a completely different game that you play to unlock the skills.
Oh, nice.
And I didn't need to do this. I could have easily made just a regular skill tree like in any game, but I thought it was cool to just decompress, play like a chill 2D platformer after like all the carnage. And it kind of makes it cool. Like, there's a world map, an overworld that you progress through, so like you're going through 2 games at the same time. I think it's just fun.
That chain whip has some range on it.
Yeah, that's a reference to a type of game that I think you might have heard about.
Oh man, TJ, you died again. Now you get to go back in the penalty box.
I really dig the not Castlevania whip.
Yeah. Every gun in the game, by the way, has an alternate fire.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one that does. Sometimes it's just aim down sights or a zoom for like a sniper rifle, but for some it's pretty crazy. Like that whip, you can actually imbue it with magical fire.
That sounds like there's more that makes, when guns have alternate fire methods, that makes the 80 count go up to like 160 then if they have two different fire methods, because they're almost like
some of them have some of them have 10 different fire modes, and then they got a stats which affects every fire mode, and I had to balance all this. It's pretty insane. Like this gun, you can attach a silencer or not, depending on your playstyle.
You gotta do the knife only run. You just picked up the knife or the shiv. You got a shiv. Yeah, there you go. There we go.
This knife has an ice effect.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they kind of freeze in place when they die sometimes, and they can shatter to pieces. And there's 3 elements, base elements in the game: fire, ice, and shock or lightning. And they all have different effects. For example, ice slows down enemies, and it has a chance to call them, which means if they're low health, they might die instantly and freeze solid.
Smart book.
Those are all randomized, correct? So like you could find like can you get a handgun with an ice effect on it? Like is that something you pick up and add?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Again, that adds more. It's going from 180 weapons to 160 to now what, like 180?
Well, it's kind of like in Borderlands when they say you can have a bajillion guns. It's the same thing here, like. But it's even more crazy here because in Borderlands you got shotguns, like pistols, automatic guns, and rocket launchers, and that's pretty much it. In this, you got melee weapon, magic weapon, like staves, guns. It's pretty crazy. And the sound design for every one of them is great. So they all just feel good to use. Anyway, that's the goal.
They look like they're fun to use.
There are a lot of interesting weapons here. I like the sword. And I especially like the fire effect where they just run the heck around.
Yeah. That's the first thing I did when I made this game. I made killing enemies satisfying and fun, and like addictive. So there's a ton of ways they can die. It's very juicy, and also the ways they die is directly linked to the weapon you're using and how you're using it. Like for example, the swords will actually cut the paper sprites, and it has fire, so yeah, they can burn, and they turn into a charred corpse that runs around.
Hi Yarix, welcome to the stream. First time viewer.
That looks like a dead
The
end.
sound effect of the sword's really nice too. It can feel like the weight of it when you swing it.
Yeah, that's thanks to Andrew. We made almost all the sound effect for the guns. He's just a wizard. So yeah, the lightning book shocks enemies, so you can see they have a shock debuff on them for a while. And even if you shoot in water, for example, an electric weapon, it'll shock the water and everything that's in it.
Man, that's an impressive amount of subsystems you have, Bruno, in this game.
It's crazy. It's nuts. I like my games to be not immersive sims, but I like the simulation to be very rich. So I like a lot of physics, and I like things to behave how they should. So there's maybe like too much, but I think it's just too cool not to have that.
Sticky grenade, sawed-off shotgun. Sawed-off shotgun with ice. Okay.
The sawed-off is my favorite weapon in the game.
Oh my god. I love it.
I just love the option of shooting one barrel or two at once, depending on like the situation, and it just shreds through enemies. So in these levels, since it's the beginning, you're mostly gonna see level 1 weapons, but there you got a level 2, which is slightly stronger.
It's so funny. I just saw TJ picked up the sniper rifle and zoomed in. Like, if I would have seen that in like the original Doom on PC when I had a computer, it would have blown my mind for the time. Like, that's trippy.
And that's the end of the level. Good job. Didn't find all the secrets though, but I'll give you a pass since you're on your time.
Yeah, do it again. Start over. TJ, start over again. We have to start all over.
Oh man.
Yeah, you get bonuses. You get bonuses if you do a good performance. Oh yeah, that's a big thing in the game, choosing one weapon. At every end of level, you have to choose one weapon to keep, and all the other ones are sold. That sounds like a controversial choice, but with the amount of weapons that drop during a level, you're never gonna like run out of them. And it's just fun to like pick up a weapon on the ground and start using it. This game is, a lot of it is about doing the best you can with what you get. And yeah, the story is mainly told through these pages that you see here. But I don't say much. It's very like you can ignore it completely. I don't think story should be amended.
I like the changing little doodles on the wall too.
There's a lot that changes in this room.
It truly does feel like a lived-in crazy person room.
They said the same thing about Doom. It's like you don't need a story. You're here to kill demons. Like that's the story. Like there, you know, people want.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure I agree with that.
You're like, well, I'm just killing demons.
I think story has its place, but the main focus here is really the gameplay.
Fantastic.
And there's headshots. There's
Even
headshots in the
like
game.
reload animation. Yeah, that looks nice. It's that attention to detail that I find impressive in games, because you didn't have to do that, right? You didn't have to have the hand come up to reload, but you could have just made it quick noises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pull the gun down, you don't see it, and it just reloads. Oh, that's one of the power-ups. It slows down time.
Nice.
Yes.
Oh my
bullet
god.
time. Everyone loves bullet time.
Absolute geyser.
It was great.
So wonderful.
You can actually change the gore settings in the menu. You can put it to ludicrous if you want, which multiplies the gore even more.
I love it.
Incredible.
You can change the gore to be candy if you're not into like pixelated blood.
TJ, you're on fire.
I am a little bit on fire, yes.
Yeah, this is a challenge room. Completely optional for people who don't like first-person platforming. And there's a lot of tools to help you as you go deeper into the game.
Oh dear.
TJ, the goal is to not sit in the fire. You're not supposed to.
I'm starting to get that vibe, yeah. Oh,
It's
boy.
fine. Fire's not that deadly low level.
He's just like, screw it, runs through the whole thing, doesn't jump at all.
I'm bad.
You're almost done. There you go.
There we go.
Get that red key card.
What do we got here? Give me something for my trouble. What is that? A
Bazooka.
bazooka. Yes,
With
please.
ice.
Ice bazooka.
All right, now I can walk out.
Oh no. Okay, you're not on fire anymore. You had to go back, but you're okay now.
And for the new chapter that's coming out, I decided to go back to the previous chapters and improve them. Because like over the 5 years, I've gotten way better at some things. So these areas you're seeing now are further polished in the finished product.
Nice.
Is that tough to do, Bruno? Because like when you're your own dev and you're making your own deadlines, you don't have any milestones like for like a corporate partner or anything like that. Like you can just take as much time as you want, really. Is that
money is my limiter. If I run out of money, I'm in trouble. But yeah, it's hard to motivate yourself and to make a schedule and stick to it and just work every single day. Because like it's a giant mountain and you're at the bottom. And if you think about it, it's just paralyzing. So you don't think about it, you keep your head down and you just work every day.
Yeah, it's one step at a time and baby steps. You know, do a couple things a day, every day, and they really start to add up after a while.
Yeah, but it's crazy. 5 years.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah, these are level 2, so they're a bit more powerful than level
Double
1
wheel.
weapons.
Double wheel. Whoa. So you can use it as like a bat.
Yeah,
Well, cool.
if you run out of ammo. I tried to find an alternate fire for a bazooka, like what could it be, and that's what I came up with. No more ammo, just smack people with it.
Ghost guys.
Yeah, they're pretty powerful.
But do you have any plans? I mean, one thing that people love about their overly violent first-person pixelated shooters is the multiplayer. Do you have any plans for multiplayer for your game?
I have no official plans, but there's 2 main things I'd like to add to the game. It's mods and multiplayer, but these are not planned currently, just so people don't expect them. But I would love to make them.
Look at
I
that.
actually worked at... Oh, you unlocked the skill tree.
Yes.
Oh my god, that's great. I love it. What
This
is?
great?
Play this whenever you want, and it's just this cute little platformer. But it's not the focus of the game, it's just a cute thing to do on the side.
Man, Bruno, you have so many things going on in your game, and it's more impressive that you did it all by yourself, with the exception of some sound engineers and some sound designers. That's really...
I mean, I've also had testers, voice actors, and trailer people. I'm not alone in this, but for like the main game actually doing the work, it's mostly me. It's not because I didn't want other people, but when I started this, I didn't have a lot of money. But since the game was like very well received on Steam, people have been buying it during early access, and it allowed me to do way more than I planned. So, what was I talking about? I don't remember, but yeah. So the coins you pick up in this are actually coins that you get to keep. So the skill you bought costs less. But if you're not interested in this platformer, you can just disable that. Because I understand that people who play my game are mostly there for the first person. So you still can unlock the skills, but you just don't have to play the platformer.
It's an amazing platform. Why would you not want to play this cute little platformer?
I mean, it's not the greatest platformer ever. The focus was really on the first-person shooter, but it should be good enough, you know.
The concept of mini games are always interesting because they're games within games. So you're like doubling your workload because you have already your core game with all its core mechanics and design. Now you have to make another game that is technically different from that, but not so much that you're making 2 separate different games.
Yeah, I don't recommend it. It's not a good idea. You're taking time away from your main game to make these, but they do have an impact. It makes the game feel bigger. Since it's another game you're playing, it adds to the fun.
Okay, back to heavy metal murder.
Back to heavy metal murder. Put that on a t-shirt.
So I do want to ask, have you considered the possibility of a Nintendo Switch launch at this point yet?
Well, I've considered it, of course. I'd love to have it, but it's going to be post-release, and so far we haven't started working on that, so it's going to take a while. But I think it would sell a lot on the Switch. I think a lot of people would be interested in that. And it's kind of a bite-sized game. Like you see, the levels aren't too long. So I think people would enjoy playing it on a handheld. It works on the Steam Deck, We're one of the first verified games on the Steam Deck.
That's excellent.
And by the way, Valve did everything. We didn't do anything. It just worked apparently.
Wow.
I guess it's Unreal.
Yeah, it looks like the infrastructure you made it in translates really well. Sometimes, like I said, when we do a case in Unity, it's a good engine if you want to port to multiple different platforms. You know, there's different strengths and weaknesses to each game engine and platform you want it on.
Yeah, I first started with my own engine before switching to Unreal because I wanted dynamic shadows. I could do everything else, but no, shadows, I just could never get it working right. But it turns out that shadows in Unreal cost a fortune, so it's not that much of a win. But because of all the tools Unreal has given me, I was able to actually use a lot of effects I wouldn't have otherwise. Like the physics, for example, are just insane. Every bullet you shoot in this game is actually a physics object moving really fast.
That is incredible. Oh my god, is that a nail gun? Gimme. I love me a nail gun. I am, like, at some point I would think that I would come across a weapon that's, like, just not that fun, but every single one of these, like, has been, like, a little bit ridiculous, a little bit of fun, in some sort of way. Not all of them are, like, I would say as practical as others, but all of them are pretty fun so far.
Yeah, try not to make any of them just be, like, kind of crappy that you don't use, just there to pad the number. And it's not the amount of ideas that's missing, because just for normal guns, which people love, like an AK or whatever, there's just so many I could add, but like it's the same type of gun as another gun, so I kind of went for variety more than the same types of guns over and over, even though people love that.
That's like the good old like Ken and Ryu debate, right? Like where their Ken is like the clone Ryu, but he's ever so slightly different, you know?
Yeah, there's not a lot of that in Nightmare Reaper. There are, like there's an AK versus I call it the Demolitionist rifle, which are both bullet weapons, but they behave differently a little bit. But in general, the weapons are all pretty unique and fill a different playstyle or solve a different problem. Yeah, there's a lot of switch hunting, there's key cards, and the deeper you go in the game, the more complex puzzles you start getting. But it's still like retro shooter fare. It's never too complicated.
Guess let's go back this way. Who's that guy?
Oh yeah, that's one of the random events. Your doctor friend.
What does he want? Does he sell stuff?
He's a doctor.
Oh, I
He's
see
gonna.
what he does.
Yes.
Call him.
You can pay him to customize your weapons.
PD game merchants are always the best.
Interesting. Okay. So that's an interesting choice that you get to make like right away.
Yeah, if you keep one weapon every level, so if you keep a weapon you love, you can keep upgrading it as you find more and more doctors and get it exactly like you want it.
Incredible. Oh, I think that's back the way I went.
There's a mini map to the top right, and you can make it full screen with M.
I see. I haven't done this one yet. Yep, sure enough. Let's reach out and say hello.
And with the sniper rifle, you sometimes have to aim slightly over their head because there's bullet drop.
Nice.
That's right. You actually have physics in your game. It's not hit scan.
No, there's like the shotgunners here that shoot bullets at you. It's actually like bullets. You can actually dodge the bullets. For example, if you're moving fast enough or have slow time power up, you can straight up dodge the bullets. And it also makes them less unforgiving. Like, people hate hit scanners and retro shooters, but if they're done right, they're super fun.
Oh my gosh,
It's a cool weapon. It's like an acid skull or acid wall in their snake or something.
Yep.
Does that become the fire if you walk over it?
Yeah, the acid will damage you if you walk over it.
TJ's like walking all over it.
a little bit.
I will
It doesn't
only
damage
walk
you a
on
lot.
him.
Fortunately, it damages them way more than the others.
Oh, by the way, the chainsaw has a grappling hook on it.
Oh, what?
Of course it does. Why? Obviously. I mean, why would we not have a grappling hook on a chainsaw? Why would I never say that sentence until now? That sounds.
Now I have to find out.
The chainsaw is incredibly cool. It's a cool weapon, but it's just not that useful because you gotta get to the enemy. But what if a grappling hook brings you to the enemy?
Well, I know which one I'm keeping for the next one.
Oh, that's the thing. You cannot keep it. It's a level 2 weapon. You don't have that ability yet to keep level 2 weapons.
Oh.
And he missed 2 of the secrets. TG, gotta go back and do it again. Come on, how many times have we talked about this? Every nook and cranny must be revealed.
Yeah, that's a player choice type of thing. Their secrets are entirely optional, but if you're gonna spend time to find them, you're gonna get rewarded.
Chainsaw grappling hook. Why has this not been a thing until now? I feel like you're way ahead of the curve, Bruno.
Well, it's definitely unique. Like, there's no other game like it. It's just a crazy mix of ideas that I tried to make work together. People seem to be enjoying it, seeing the Steam reviews so far, so I guess we're doing something right.
What's been the biggest criticism of your game since it's been in early access and people have actually gotten their hands on it? Like, you've gotten a bunch of feedback, I'm sure, from the community in Steam.
Yeah, there's some people who just don't want randomization in their retro shooters. Some hardcore, like, original Doom fans. If it's not handmade levels that are super large and like details, because these are also all made with cubes, then they don't like it. It's definitely a minority. It's even less than I thought there would be. I thought there would be a bigger backlash. But that's the biggest thing, I think. People want everything to be... Yeah.
Especially with like, most of the time the loudest complaints are from the minority, but they just happen to be the loudest, most vulgar group when it comes to criticism of someone's game. Like, it's like less than 1% of players complain about it. They're so loud, you think you have to change it, but...
And I have this thing where I only, like, think about negative comments. I think like a lot of artists do. So I read one, that's all I can think about, and the positive ones just go over my head.
Yeah, I don't think people understand that when you're making a game like Doom, for example, right? And there's no procedurally generated. It's not procedurally generated. Like, there's a lot more work that has to go into that design, because now there has to be a pacing to the level. There has to be encounters. There has to be layout. And I feel like both take a lot of amount of work, but I think it's harder to make a linear game because you have to handcraft everything as opposed to make elements and kind of mush them together.
Well, my opinion on this is that it's way harder to randomize, because I have to make a lot more content, and then I don't even know how things are going to be connected together, so I have to make sure my AI that connects them together is smart and everything, and it always creates good, fun things, and doesn't create things that are bugged. When you make an handcrafted levels, you make one level, like, you make it by hand one time and you're done, and it's easy to test, it's easy to make sure it's fun. Like, I think I can tell you the amount of rooms I have in the game actually right now.
Oh, that's cool. Yes, please. Is that a freezeway, TJ? What is that?
It's a bolter that has like a orb shot that freezes them, but it also has like a straight up rail driver laser cannon.
That's
if you hit the ice bolt with the laser, it'll create an explosion.
Oh, that's...
I'll let you I let you find out what reference this is of. So the game currently has 1,512 handmade rooms.
512. Wow, that's a lot of room.
1,500.
1,512, 1,500. Oh my god, that's even worse.
Like these are all handmade. They're all like that made them pretty. I put something unique in it so people can remember it and can find their path in the level. It's no joke. You seem to be. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I very much am a fan of good precision weapons. That's what I say. I love a good shotgun, but I also love a good precision weapon. Big fan of good rail drivers. Big fan of good hard-hitting sniper rifles. And I love the fact that you have like a headshot in this game, because like watching these minions just like, there was one that I blasted the head off of earlier, and they just like stood up facing me like. The death animations in this game are great so far.
Yeah, there's a lot of sniper and railgun type guns in the game. They're my favorite after shotguns. My favorite shotgun's the quad shotgun, just because it's 4 barrels instead of 2. And I did an exercise. You can get the plus attack stat on a weapon, which actually multiplies the amount of attacks. So let's say you have a quad shotgun with the +2 attack stat, which is the highest one. That means it fires 3 times when you pull the trigger, so that's 12 barrels.
Wow.
Then there's a power-up that actually doubles your gun. You get 1 in each hand. So that's 24 barrels at a time you can shoot in this game. And
That's
also,
a lot of barrels.
yeah, when you shoot the shotgun, it has kickback, which pushes you backwards. So if you shoot the 24 barrels at the ground, it sends you into space.
Wow.
God, the Alkali trailer for this would be amazing. Over 22 barrels.
Yeah, I made a video on it on YouTube. It's pretty funny. I put the DuckTales moon team after shooting the barrels. Yeah, so that's the second zone, the mushroom caves.
Lightning book with some live steel would be good.
Yeah, that's a level 2 weapon. It's way stronger. It does chain lightning, and the orbs, the alternate fire, will actually attack anything that comes close. And you can even pick up the gibs of enemies and then throw them at other enemies to damage them.
Nice.
Why? Just because I could, and it's cool.
Why not is more the question instead of why.
I mean, why not is for performance reasons, but you know, I tried to make it work.
I gotta peep that cryo bolter. That's a fun one.
It has bigger projectiles, so they're gonna hit walls and stuff, but they're easier to hit with the laser.
Mm-hmm.
The story is fully voiced also in Chapter 3. Sadly, I didn't have the funds to hire a voice actor during this version.
That in of itself is quite a process from what I understand.
Voice acting?
Yeah.
Well, I need the right person and yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, the whole process.
Yeah. It's actually really easy if you find the right people. I worked with Gianni. I don't want to butcher his name. He's I think he's Italian or something. Gianni Matragrano. He's pretty big also in the retro shooter scene, and this guy's a professional. So I just sent him all the lines that he had to voice, and then he sent me a bunch of examples of ways he could take the character, and then I picked one, and he sent me like 5 versions of every line with different intonations and stuff, and I just picked the ones I wanted, and I had like almost nothing to tell him because he's just so good at his work. So that's one thing that was so painless. I don't know if I just got a good voice actor that knew what he was doing. But yeah, that was a painless process.
Grenade harpooner. Let's find out.
Yeah, that's a funky one.
I like it.
Yeah, shoots a harpoon and then it detonates after a second, and it pins things to walls.
Die, TJ.
Oh, that's not good.
Get help. Oh, that's great. God, everything is just so like sharp and like hard to shoot.
There you go.
Where's this guy shooting? Oh, hello.
Oh jeez.
Oh no, I shot directly between them!
Oh no, TJ, why? Yeah, you go on timeout again.
Well, that was a pretty good run. I think I got through like 4 or 5 levels before they finally got me.
Yeah, that's another thing. The randomness of the level will sometimes make it easier or harder for you. What's fun is seeing if you can actually beat the challenge. And later in the game, you're going to be able to affect the difficulty through a difficulty system that you can actually customize. But that hasn't really been revealed yet. And it's another system that's pretty unique.
Oops. There we go. Oh no, I missed out on that treasure.
Yeah, you can press escape to restart the level if you really want to.
Oh, okay. Well, then I will. That's a secret tip right there.
Oh no, TJ.
I see. There we go.
Oh, wait, there's treasure up there. You gotta get that treasure.
I don't think I can reach that. Nope. That's fine.
Don't worry too much about treasure in the minigame.
Sure.
You're getting a lot of treasure, whatever you're gonna do.
Actually, it's kind of nice because it breaks up the gameplay a little bit from the shooting.
The idea is you play like a couple of levels, it gets pretty intense, and then when you're in the hospital or whatever, you just pop up the Game Boy and shit a little bit. And in the full version, there's 2 other games which are different types of games. Poor little guy.
He's just standing there, TJ. What are you gonna?
Come in his home, just laser him. Oh yeah, you can kick. And you can upgrade the kick in the skill tree, it can get pretty deadly.
I love the power. Like I dig that it's got like little the ball shot, but I also dig the laser and I dig the explosion you can cause if you hit the. Well, actually, let's do that right here. I love that. Like the fact that you have like combo weapons is pretty fun. Like.
There's some crazy weapons you haven't found yet, but like there's some systems you're gonna be like, why did you do this? You didn't have to do this.
Have there been any like? Have you watched anyone play that's like done crazy things with weapons that you wouldn't have even expected?
I've seen some crazy mix of weapons, yeah, and you can use some of them to sequence break. English is not my first language. For example, like the chainsaw with the hook, you can do some pretty crazy things. Yeah, now you're in trouble.
That's not good.
Oh no, TJ, what the hell is that?
I don't like the face that keeps getting in my face.
Yeah, that's a random event. It's just like in the tutorial, except it's a huge, disgusting face.
Oh my gosh.
I think you kill it. I think you need to get out. I don't think it can die. I think you gotta try to get out before it kills you.
You have to destroy the orb like in the tutorial.
Oh no. Did you find the orb? No, TJ, no. Why?
That's a tough one. I'll have
You
to-
were so young and beautiful.
When you die, try again.
Yeah, so now they're a completely different level. There's probably not gonna be the scary head.
What is the penalty upon death, Bruno? Do you like lose some currency? Like, you obviously lose all your weapons, but is there any other kind of penalty to dying?
There's no penalty. You even keep the weapon. The gold you found in the level. The real penalty is your time, because you don't get the end of level bonus, and you have to play the level again. But if you're stuck on a level and keep dying over and over, you're still getting some gold, so you can buy skills to make it easier. So you got the reflection power up, which gives you 2 of the same gun, so twice the firepower.
There we go.
And by the way, there's not just caves in the game, but the 2 starting areas are caves. The game starts simple, like the levels are not too big and it's there's not too many systems, but then it will really ramp up.
And that's just good design. Like, you don't want a games can be very intimidating if you throw a lot of the player at once.
Yeah.
So take it slow, let them discover and go back, and then once they've mastered it, they can blaze through it quicker.
Yeah, there's
scary head again.
oh, it's the same random event, so
No.
no, there's no scary end this time.
Martyr staff.
Yeah, that's a cool one. It's or sacrifice, or does a lot of damage with the alternate fire, but it uses your life. But the primary fire actually heals you if you aim it at an enemy, so you use your life to damage, then you try to heal yourself.
Got it. There we go. Okay, no scary head. That's good.
And of course, I added a ton more random events in the final game. I don't know the actual count, but there's a lot.
That's really
What
interesting.
weapon are you having now, TJ?
The martyr staff.
It's a laser. The healing laser, the leeching laser. Oh, you'd like spray blood at him. That was weird. From a technical standpoint, Bruno, what was the most challenging aspect of the game to get working for you personally?
Well, I had 0 experience with Unreal Engine, so I was starting pretty far, and I'm actually using Unreal only for the renderer, so I don't use the Unreal editor at all. I made my own tools, so level editor and all that. So yeah, just learning how to use Unreal and do it properly and getting good performance. And also doing all of that through C++ and not the editor. It's pretty hard. Like I wouldn't say the C++ documentation is great for Unreal. And there's systems you just simply cannot work with in C++. So that was really challenging.
Yeah, there's got to be sometimes it's when you're a real coder. I'm not a real coder. But when you're a real coder, you can make sense of what you see in C++ and the Unreal and like the log menu and all those lines of code. You can make sense of it. But if you're new to game development, I know a lot of like Windows Game Maker, right? It's very visual. It's a lot of dragging, and like you equivalent everything to it. It's a little bit easier. But yeah, when you get in the thick of it, it's just lines of code you have to go through and then run it and then see if it works and then try it again.
Yeah, I'm a programmer by trade. Like I worked as a programmer at Ubisoft for almost 6 years. So for me, that's what I find easy. But yeah, if you can make a full game with no programming with Unreal and Unity by just going through the visual editor. Yeah, earlier I wanted to say I'd like to add multiplayer, and when I was at Ubisoft, that's what my job was actually, to work as a multiplayer programmer on their multiplayer engine. So that's something I could definitely implement in this game.
Have you thought about like going to Kickstarter for like additional funding for your game so you can improve it more, or like you said, add multiplayer?
I don't want any of that. I don't want a publisher. I don't want to have to like satisfy anyone. I just want to make my own game my way and make something that, of course, everyone will enjoy, so can keep making it. But that, like making a Kickstarter, I would have to. First, it takes my time away because I have to deal with that. I have to make rewards. It's all time I cannot put into the game. And then I have to satisfy these people. And they kind of have a say in what you're doing. Like, I paid you to do this, you're not doing what I like. And the way I'm doing it now, out of my pocket, I don't have any of that. I take all my decisions. But
that's a really common thing in your industry too. Like when people are making a game, if the team gets too big, they're more managing and not creating, and that's a thing a lot of developers suffer from a lot of times. Yeah.
But I don't really recommend making a game like this by yourself and just doing your own thing, because there's almost no chance of success in a way, because you need funds to make something fun and to be able to work on it. So you need to eat and live somewhere. So, and also putting all your economies, like your savings, is not a great idea, because if the game flops, you're left with nothing. So I don't really recommend it, but for me, it was the only way.
It's a risk. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you never, like, you gotta take life one day at a time. Like, Super Meat Boy was a risk, and it sold like crazy. Like, you never know, right? You can always.
Well, I think the risk is too small. Like, the risk of success nowadays for an indie game with a low budget like mine, it's impossible. Like, I don't recommend it. There's too many games on Steam. There's too many like small indies, but with an actual budget and like bigger teams. So it's really hard.
No, there's 100. But the last time I looked at the metrics, it was like 100 games a week are released on Steam, which is insane. That's a lot of games people have to try to get through to find ones they enjoy or good ones and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of them are kind of garbage. But honestly, Steam has a great system overall for just finding good stuff. Like, I don't feel like I'm ever swamped with bad like games, and it's easy to find like cool games in the genre you like. Like, I'm really impressed with Steam's system in general.
Yeah.
TJ found the secret. You found the secret, TJ.
Did I?
That's like
that was a secret. By the way, you can see the amount of treasures and enemies you have left under the map in the top right. I don't show secrets though, because I'm not gonna tell you everything.
Sure. I don't know what I need this for, but I probably don't. So. That's a lot of spikes.
Yeah.
Leap of faith.
So for example, these spikes, like if I would have made them actually individual spikes, it would have cost less for performance than doing it in 2D like I'm doing, because it's transparent planes and Unreal hates transparent things.
I do like these
Oops.
challenge rooms and just how different each of like the not only the random events like that, obviously that doctor and the skull face, but also just like the sheer amount of occurrences that you can come across, whether it's enemies, like a puzzle room, or
There's some insane ones in the new version, like they're almost their own game.
How many chapters do you plan on releasing, Bruno, altogether when you're all set and done? Or are you going to just keep making it until you feel like you've done enough?
Well, on the 28th, the game is done. So there's gonna be 3 chapters. They're super long. There's new game plus. There's different game modes. Like, there's enough game to satisfy anyone in there. For post-release, I don't currently plan on adding new chapters or actual new content. I'm gonna focus on modding and maybe multiplayer, but like this is not a promise. It's just what I'd like to work on.
There's a lot of factors that will lead to that, I'm sure, as well.
Yeah, because modding would be great for this game because it's actually, I made all the tools myself since I'm not using the Unreal editor, so I already have all these tools. And the engine is actually like pretty simple because it's all cubes. So you can easily make a level without knowing any programming or any 3D modeling at all. Like it could be super easy to make mods with this game. So that's something I'm really excited to explore. You're getting a lot of ice weapons.
seems that way. Because I can dig it because it freezes everything in place.
Yeah, ice is really good. It slows things down, and it, like I said earlier, if like an enemy has 10% life left or something, it kills them instantly instead of having you do the rest of the damage. And the strength of that effect depends on the stats of your weapon.
There's so many dead ice bodies, you just get hit by these things, they're dead.
Yeah. Thankfully, I did something. They actually break by themselves after, I don't know, 30 seconds or something, so you don't actually have to find like this one tiny dragon frozen somewhere.
There's 3 dudes left. I don't want them to lurk around by themselves in this level all lonely and stuff.
Can you give us some ideas of the other biomes? You mentioned there are other biomes, not just caves. Can you talk a little about the detail of the environment players will experience as they go through the 3 chapters?
There are kind of themes for the chapters. The first chapter is more like rural areas and medieval type things, so caves, forests, old mansions, like old villages, stuff like that. Chapter 2 is completely different. It's a modern city, so huge city streets, bridges, hospitals, prisons, the underground with subways and all that kind of stuff. And chapter 3, it's not really revealed yet, but it's something refreshing after these 2 chapters. And they all introduce different mechanics. For example, in chapter 1, it's mostly straightforward, a level after another, but chapter 2 has a hub where you pick the order of levels, and that also changes their difficulty depending on the order. And chapter 3 has something completely different again. So you're always gonna see something new, something refreshing, and there's also new puzzle types and new mechanics. Like in chapter 2, you're gonna get satchel charges that you can plant in walls to make them explode.
Nice.
It's a new type of secret, and there's always new mechanics like that pop up throughout the whole game. lots of effort was put into making everything always refreshing.
How long have you been wanting to make this game in your mind?
Oh my god.
How long? My mind is absolutely filled with game ideas. Like it's crazy. So it was really hard to pick one to do. Like what I wanted to do originally with this game was nothing like this, nothing at all. I wanted to make a simple Wolfenstein clone with no verticality, and mix it with a shmup or a space shooter, something like a Gradius or something like that. But make it like extremely simple and quick. Make that in like a couple of months. But then I started to get tired of that, and the concept started to change, and it never was this way in my head, the way you're currently playing. Well, until a couple of years ago when I actually had a serious plan. But even then it got crazier from all the success I got in early access. With more money I could do more.
What gun do you have now, TJ? What is that? Whoa.
That was a railgun.
You have red orbs now. You become Vegeta.
This is the titular Nightmare Reaper power-up.
I also have a railgun.
You'll be glad to know. You'll be glad to know I raised its damage in Chapter 3.
When I put a rail through somebody's face, if they explode, then it's not a good rail.
Yeah, the explosion of enemies depends on the amount of damage they get, so that means you're doing enough damage that they give. It's like that in Doom also.
Oh my god, that's a lot of hits.
Yeah, the shotgunners are no joke.
You're almost dead, TJ. Stay alive.
I don't want to die.
That's mad respect, though, Bruno. Like, that's really cool that you're making this game for yourself. And if you could solve and make more games like this, great. But like, you started with just making this game because you wanted to make it, and under your rules, under your guidelines, and your milestones. And I have a lot of respect to that.
I mean, I still had to make a game that would sell, so that would satisfy people's taste and ideas of what the game should be. So it's not like I didn't go like crazy and just do whatever I wanted. Because I'd like to keep making games, and to do that, you need to make a profit.
Yeah, and so you basically said was like you wanted the game that you want the game to be fun, so you want other people that enjoy it, not just like your little yeah.
It's extremely rewarding to see people enjoying it.
That was some time.
I watch almost every stream. Like it's just so fun to watch people play this, and it's fun to watch because it's always random.
And at the core, like games are artwork to a level, and like you're an artist, and it's like people admiring your work is a great compliment. Like you like to see that, that's always fun.
Yeah, I've always felt like an artist, even though like I don't think I'm a very good one, but that's how I see things. I like to make people experience things. Oh, you got the random tiny people event again.
They're so little, TJ. Run! Run for your life! Your firearms are useless against them.
Run away!
They're too little.
Yeah, their graphics was actually based on a graphic I made myself before I had all the enemies redone. Little secret there.
That's a little army of darkness wink. All the little ashes come out and start swarming you.
Yeah, it's not the only Evil Dead Army of Darkness reference. Yeah, there's a ton of Easter eggs in the game. We haven't found one yet. Well, the Tiny People was one, but there are like more dedicated Easter eggs.
I apologize. We can't take TJ anywhere. I've been working on it. TJ, go back. Go back. Get all the secrets and all the Easter eggs right now.
There is no going back. We went back to the
It's
hospital.
only forward. It's the only one we go forward.
Oop.
You touched the spikes.
Did.
Don't touch the spikes. Okay, good. So close.
And the minigame also gets more complicated as you go. Every world has a different team and different mechanics.
Nice.
There's even power-ups. I feel like like Mario Brothers 3 and Super Mario Brothers haven't really been beaten since, especially when we are talking about overworld. Like, they're just so magical and it's so fun to explore the overworlds. I don't feel like any of the new Marios are as fun.
I mean, like, yeah, once Mario Maker came out and people could make their own Mario overworlds and stuff, it kind of...
Yeah, but they kind of suck. They're not as good. Like, they don't modify as well as the Super Mario one, and I don't know. I like ROM hacks of Mario, because they actually can make super tricky and complex overworlds.
We have a saying here at Shacknews is that the only game that may be a perfect 10 is Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo.
I mean, I may prefer Super Mario 3, honestly. I'm not sure.
A lot of the same ideas in that game as well.
Well, like, Super Mario Maker is also such an interesting, especially when the more stuff they added to it. Like, now you've got a game where, like, not only can you make levels in Super Mario, but you can also make overworlds in the style of Super Mario 3 or Super Mario World, which, like, what a good idea to put the creativity, like, give a tool set to fans to be able to make those themselves.
I watch so much Mario Maker. I love that stuff.
And, like, we have our boss is that was like a game changer for him to be able to, because he always wanted to make Super Mario with it, and now he's like, what the hell is this? I'm gonna shoot it because
This is the anti-gravity random event.
TJ, stop! Your firearms are useless against it. But you can actually kill it, okay. I just saw TJ taking massive amounts of damage. I was like,
killing while high in the air for fall damage to take place. Not a good idea.
Yeah, there was fall damage.
That is a giant demon. Have some fire, Scarecrow.
killing demons with fire? Doesn't that just make them stronger?
Well, that one didn't get stronger. That one just caught on fire until it exploded.
These are the forest levels. They're slightly more open, but still you're at the beginning of the game.
Oh dear. Oh my god.
The enemies on fire will make you catch fire.
I see that.
Fire spreads.
Fire is the dot effect in this game, and damage over time. It's pretty powerful, but it's kind of deadly to yourself also.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, I unlocked a room. Hello. The plot thickens. But, just in time for our viewers to go and find out for themselves what this game is about. We are coming up against the end of our live stream today. This has been a blast. Like, I dig a good retro style shooter, but like I have never seen one that like incorporated such an interesting roguelike random element into not only having like these randomized rooms and these challenges, but also this amazing cavalcade of weapons. Bruno, tell the folks where they can find the game.
The game is on Steam and GOG right now. It's the early access. There's 2 chapters out. on the 28th, we're releasing Chapter 3 and a ton of new stuff. And it's also going to be on Steam and GOG. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it. And the reviews so far seem good, so buy it.
Where can folks find out more about what's going on with it?
The Discord is essentially if you really want to ask questions or interact directly with the community and me, the Nightmare Reaper Discord. You can access it by going to blazingbitgames.com or just type Nightmare Reaper Discord in Google, or you can find even a link in the Steam forums. Steam forums, the Steam page in general is a good place also. We post news. There's a news article that are posted there about the info for the game, or on Twitter. Just check Nightmare Reaper on Twitter at Nightmare Reap, REAPE 4.
Nice.
I know it's not very very clear, but Google it, you can find it.
For sure. Well, thank you for stopping by. We were happy to have you on today. This was an absolute blast.
Thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
And to those of you out there, if you enjoy what you saw here today, then consider throwing us a follow on the Shacknews Twitch channel. If you really like what you saw, maybe throw us a subscribe. If you happen to have an Amazon Prime account, you can link it up to your Twitch account via Prime Gaming and get yourself a free Twitch subscription each month to use as you please. If you want to throw it our way, we would be happy to have it. Just as well, you can find everything that we're doing over on shacknews.com. Every bit of news, every bit of reviews, every bit of everything that comes out, including what's going on with Indie-licious, can be found on shacknews.com. You can also find us on our YouTube channels at Shacknews Games and GamerHub Videos, which is where we post a lot of gameplay, a lot of reviews, a lot of interviews. Pretty much Greg Burke over here is putting in the work to make sure that y'all see all of the latest stuff coming out of our video channels at all times. We just put up some cool Ghostwire Tokyo footage, as well as some Phantom Breaker Omnia footage. And of course we have Destiny 2 content coming on the regular with the expansion that's out now. And of course, finally, you can find us on our socials at Shacknews Twitter, Shacknews on Facebook, Shacknews Media on Instagram, Shacknews everywhere. Thank you all for watching this week. Nightmare Reaper coming out. That was March 28th is the 1.8
Yes.
inch.
Yep.
Definitely go check it out. If you want to get in on that early access price, you still can. But be sure to check it out. Either way, it is coming out at the end of this month, and it is a delight. This has been TJ Denzer, Senior News Editor for Shacknews, alongside Greg Burke, Video Editor for Shacknews, telling you, have fun, be cool, play more indies, y'all. Take care and have a great week.